I'm coming up on Extreme Close-Up right now.
Billy Crystal says he loves what he's doing, and he's doing what he does best, making people laugh. Crystal grew up in Long Island, surrounded by entertainers. His father produced jazz concerts, and so the Crystals were often visited by musical artists such as Billie Holiday. That exposure infused him with the passion to entertain, starting in his parents' living room at the age of 3. He'd perform for dimes, which he'd stick to his forehead, a trick, by the way, that we got him to demonstrate for us. Crystal has come a long way since then, but the path hasn't always been easy. The stand-up comic was cut from the debut show of Saturday Night Live in 1975. And though he made some waves as TV's first gay character, Jody, on Soap, it took nearly a decade before he triumphantly rejoined the cast of Saturday Night Live and found commercial success on the big screen. In 1986, Crystal starred opposite Gregory Hines in Running Scared. What followed was a string of popular films, including The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, and City Slickers. He also received worldwide acclaim and 3 Emmys for writing and hosting the Academy Awards. Now at 45, Crystal is trying something new, directing his first film. Mr. Saturday Night is the story of stand-up comedian Buddy Young Jr., a character that Crystal created while on Saturday Night Live.
This man passed away, no one has told him. Smile. Are you having a good time? Tell your face. Come on, pep up, pep up. Look at this guy. This is what happens when cousins marry.
Despite his phenomenal success, Billy Crystal appears to be the same down-to-earth, baseball-loving guy who married his wife Janice 22 years ago. We met him at Skywalker Studios in Los Angeles, and with the mixture of humor and poignancy for which he has become famous, he reflected on some memorable moments and people in his life.
Billy, we've randomly picked some important dates in your life, and we'd like to just get a quick impression from you of the significance they've had for you. What comes to mind when you hear May 30th, 1956?
It's easy. First Yankee game, first time I saw Yankee Stadium looking like this gigantic synagogue of baseball in the middle of the Bronx. I talked about it in City Slickers. I mean, that's real. I mean, Mickey hit a home run that day. My brothers and I, we were sitting in Louis Armstrong's seats at Yankee Stadium. I got an autograph on a program from Mickey Mantle that someone was nice enough to get for us from the Yankee clubhouse. And he hit this titanic home run, a history-making home run in Yankee Stadium. And I kept the program. And 20 years later, when I was doing Soap, Mickey Mantle was a guest on a Dinah Shore talk show. And I brought the program, and Mickey signed the same program 20 years apart. So first baseball game is a big one, May 30th, 1956.
And you got 1 and later 2 autographs.
On the same program.
On the same program?
Yeah, it's framed in my house.
Okay. March 25th, 1961.
Oh, man, that's my bar mitzvah date, is it not?
That day you were a man.
Well, sort of. How did you get that date? Boy, I almost search for that. Whoa, research. March 25th, was the date I was bar mitzvahed. It was a thrilling day and a horrible day at the same time because my older brother, I'm the youngest of 3, right? So my older brothers, who I idolized, and all my friends, I was the last one. I was the runt of the litter. And there's a certain point in the service where the rabbi takes you in front of the ark, right? Puts his arm around you and whispers something to you. And then the bar mitzvah boy always had tears in his eyes, left the stage, the podium there, and came down and kissed his mother and his grandparents, right? And it was the most amazing. There was organ music, and it was always like amazing. And the rabbi had obviously given the secret of life or some important message that was. And as I got closer to it, I kept asking my brothers, "What did he say? What did he say?" And I said, "No, you'll find out." And my friends, "What did he say?" "No, you'll see for yourself. You should hear it for yourself." So now the moment's coming. I'm in my robes and had finished the main part of the difficult service, and I was standing on an apple box. It was so humiliating. I was so small and all that. And the organ music comes in. He motions for me. This is it. Puts his arm around me, we face the arc, and he whispers this to me. Count to 10, then go off the stage and kiss your grandparents, and come back up on stage. And I got so emotional. That's it? He goes, yeah. What else? Nothing. All right, go. And I went off so disillusioned. And that was the story. That's May 25th, 1961.
I also understand that you were a little bit overweight for the occasion.
No, that was, well, yeah, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Before that, I thought you were going to give me that date. The worst thing that was ever said to me in the history of being ever said to me was about 2 months before that. I was like 4'10" and weighed about 48 pounds. My mother thought she had a midget wrestler on her hands. And she took me to Dr. Griboff. And I was sitting there, and then my older brother, Joel's 6'2", and my middle brother, Richie, is about 5'10", 5'11", but yet I had on my grandfather's side some lab mice. There were some small people. And there were actually these twin little, like albinos, the little tiny little people in three-piece suits, the Gabler brothers from New Jersey. How are you? How are you? How are you? And, oh, look, the lab mice are here. You know. And so Dr. Griboff, they x-rayed my hands and my legs and the whole thing, and it was a horrible feeling because I wanted to be, you know, where I was May 30th, 1956. That's where I wanted my career to be, playing that big room in the Bronx. And he came out, and these were the words that are the worst words ever said to me in the history of my life. Maybe 5'9". Well, at that point, I died 1,000 deaths. Images of, you know, I'd like to thank everybody here at Cooperstown for putting me in the Hall of Fame, you know, because I would have developed an Oklahoman accent, because Mickey had one anyway. And so they put me on these appetite pills and all of this stuff. So instead of getting taller, I got wider. And I was this little fat blob and bursting through suits, you know, I ended up in the portly cadet section of Robert Hall getting my bar mitzvah suit. But thanks for bringing up this. So let's hurt me some more. What do you got?
Oh, no, this is a good day.
No, this is fine.
A good day. July 30th, 1966.
July 30th, 1966?
1966.
That's the date of my first date with my lovely wife, Janice. I had the ticket stubs. We went to Shea Stadium, romantic. It was a Met game. It was Casey Stengel's 75th birthday. It was the first date with Janice, 1966, during the Johnson administration.
And you were how old then, 18 or so?
I was 18, yeah.
Which is roughly the age that one of your daughters is today.
She's older than that now. She's 19.
And if she had come to you now and said, Dad, I think I've met the guy I'm going to marry, what would you say to her?
I'd say to her, listen, Woody's a great director. But I just don't feel it's right.
But seriously.
I'd have to meet the young man and then spank him. No, that's a tough question. You know, these are perilous times out there, but if it was a guy that she loved and really felt good about, I would encourage her to wait. That's a tough one. You know, that's a father's fear. You know, who's on the other side of the door all the time? Who's going to be there when the door knocks, you know? I'll get it, honey. And it's that guy with the bed. Hello, how are you? Nice to meet you. That Ed Wynn voice and the screaming glance, you know. Now. Constantly. So that's what I face. You know, now every time the door opens, and Lindsay's going to be 15, and she's a knockout too, and the boys start coming around.
When Extreme Close-Up returns, Billy's secret past.
I made some films which are very embarrassing today to think that what I was interested in.
Welcome back to Extreme Close-Up, E's half-hour interview show with Billy Crystal.
Billy, let's talk about a few people who have been influential in your career. Martin Scorsese, you had studied under him at NYU Film School.
And owes me $10.
What did you learn from the maestro?
He sure is, isn't he? He's pretty great. I was very new to film school, and I don't know even know why I chose directing at that point over acting. It was just an instinct I had was I wanted to learn how to direct. It was 1968, 9, and 70, and I had him for like 4 or 5 classes. Oliver Stone was there at the same time, and Christopher Guest, Mike McKeon, a little later Melissa Manchester. It was really interesting. I think what I learned from him there was the intensity, the drive, the overall knowledge of the camera that he has and had then. It was a lot of basics about the actual structure of a camera, and I made some films which are very embarrassing today to think that what I was interested in. And it was, he was very strong with us. He was very encouraging, but very strong with us as far as composition and sense of what we were doing. And I learned from him a great respect for the camera and the man who operates it, too. It was a great respect for that.
In 1976, you were cast as...
What are you, Ralph Edwards? This is like...
This is your life.
This is, yeah. 1976.
You were cast in All in the Family.
Nut Boy.
As Rob Reiner's best friend.
The
and
Nut
you
Boy.
went on to become...
Best friends.
Best friends in real life. What binds you together today?
Well, I would guess the camaraderie of our illnesses, of our
neuroses.
Yeah, well, it's an illness. We just really hit it off, you know, and we did that, and it's gotten deeper, and also we've been able to maintain a business relationship, as Mr. Saturday Night and City Slickers are done through Rob's company. Which is a very rare thing to be able to do. I think that we just love being with each other. I think we see the world pretty much the same way. We love to laugh at the same things. And we have a very strong sense of who we are and what we like, and we just get along great. And it's a very sharing relationship, which I have not only with Rob, but with a lot of people.
You have friends going back to like the 5th and 6th grade.
Yeah.
I read that, I guess we could say his name, Dr. David Sherman, is someone who actually followed you to Los Angeles.
Well, I owed him money, too.
But he had given up a fellowship at Harvard, he claims, just to be with you. I mean, that's a pretty strong friendship.
Yeah. He's a great guy. We lived together when I was at NYU. It was really funny because he was a med student, I was a film student. And he always wanted to be in show business, so he kept saying, well, maybe I'll be a house doctor someplace, you know, at a theater. And oftentimes he'd come to screenings of student films or movies that I was required to see from some of Scorsese's classes, and I would go to the hospital to visit him and you know, to see what he was doing. We've been friends since 6th grade. I have a number of friends like that. No way. I'm getting roasted by the Friars Club.
I'm sure one of the people roasting you will be Robin Williams.
Robin will be there. He's right down the hall.
Oh, yeah. Well, invite him over when we're through. You're probably one of the few comics who can go one-on-one with Robin. Improv. Do you think you might ever make a film together?
Oh, we're talking about it constantly. We were just looking for the right thing, and I love being on stage with him. I also just love being with him. He's a wonderful friend, and he's a great guy. And when we're together, we very rarely joke unless something really happens. We talk about our families and our kids and real things. And I think that, you know, we've gone away on vacations with them and have had great times with he and Marcia and the kids. And Janice and I are really very close with them. And we are dying to do something together. And even if it's a concert movie that the two of us do, which that hasn't been done before. But we've been really looking and trying to develop something to do together. Yeah, I would love to do that.
Next up on Extreme Close-Up, Billy's Crystal Ball.
I've already seen it. It's not going to be so bad.
Welcome back to Extreme Close-Up, E's half-hour interview show with Billy Crystal.
Answer me one question, and be perfectly honest with me.
What?
Am I still funny?
Oh, buddy, don't.
No, because I will trust your opinion. If you say to me that I'm not funny, then I will also retire tonight right here. I'll eat a lychee nut and go to bed.
Oh, God, I can't
So tell me,
stand
am I funny or am I not funny?
Will you stop it?
Am I funny or
Will
not
you just
funny?
stop it
Am I
already,
funny or
buddy?
not funny? Tell me, am
You're
I...
not that funny.
You've aged, what, 40, 50 years?
Since we started this? Because I've been in so much makeup, I don't even know when I have it on, and I don't. Yeah, I aged from 31 to 73, so that's like 42 years. And there are two younger boys who brilliantly portray Buddy and his brother as young men, around 15 and 6, actually. These terrific kids. Mm-hmm. And for me, I would, because I was directing the piece, I would have to get to the makeup trailer at 1:30 in the morning to start the process at 2. So I could be, it took about 5.5 hours on the average to get me to the set by 7:30 so I could first have a rehearsal. And many times, you know, while we're setting up the shots, and it's such a meticulous time that they would take me out of the makeup chair midway through. So many times I'd come looking like some strange mole man from an old Superman episode with no eyebrows and half a painted face. It would be white and brown. Look like the car that has the tan door and the rest of it is right, you know, and no eyebrows and stuff. And I would direct with no, and it was amazingly difficult, but we got through it.
When you weren't being called away, how did you pass your time?
What I found was valuable was playing with the script, playing with the scenes, how I was going to talk to the actors, learning my lines. And even though I was one of the writers, I didn't know them a lot. Thinking of shots, thinking of all of these things. It was my only real quiet time. And then you have to start working with the stuff that's been glued to your face. So if a piece went on there, I couldn't move for maybe a half hour. And then this. But then once it was on, Buddy started to emerge. And then the nose, and then the thing, and then when then your voice changes, and you get older, and then you develop, you know, into the guy, and then you get prostate trouble, and then your kids don't call, and I tell you, it's nuts. So by the time 5.5 hours is over, you walk out to the set, and then you're this guy. And the days I was in makeup, the crew would talk louder and slower to me. You want a seat here? Do you want to sit down there? Do you think we should use this? What are you yelling? You got the job. What's you?
You enjoy playing older characters.
Yeah,
Why
I do. Because I'm getting ready.
You're preparing for
I've
the
already
real thing.
seen it. It's not going to be so bad. You know, I'm rehearsing. I'm going to be a hip old guy.
You like the way you look in old age makeup?
You can't complain. You know, I'll be okay. This particular face, the Buddy's face, is my face. See, Miracle Max in Princess Bride was this old gnome, you know, so nothing made sense. It was, you know, Peter did, and I said, I want to look like Casey Stengel and my grandmother together. I thought that would be a good mix. And it's true. And then I showed him pictures of her and Casey, and we came up with, I've seen Royce, that guy. Buddy Young Jr. basically is me, where it's going to fall, where it's going to sag, where it's going to get bigger, I hope, where it's going to get smaller, I hope not. You know, so that was a little unsettling. That was a little unsettling.
When Extreme Close-Up continues, Billy turns back the hands of time.
Well, you're 15. God, I got a date.
Actors, directors, singers, models, comedians, athletes, performers, personalities, celebrities, stars. Whoever you love to look at, he's got 'em. Every day in excellent shows and specials. Sexy, funny, talented, mysterious, smart, gorgeous, intriguing, cool, hot. Whoever you love, you can find on E! Every day and every night on E! Entertainment Television.
Welcome back to Extreme Close-Up, E's half-hour interview show with Billy Crystal.
Now, before you go, you just got to teach us one thing. I know.
Is a cigar in there?
I know this is how you got your start in show business.
Dimes. You got dimes.
Yeah. You got to teach me how to do this now.
Well,
This is what you did up on the coffee table with.
yeah. But you see, you had to work up like a little bit of a sweat, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe you did. My Aunt Edith, my brothers and I would work in the living room. We'd be really funny, which is also in Mr. Saturday Night. These kids work in the living room. Go, ha, ha, give me that. Go, ha, ha, ha. Hey, what, these kids are great. Can you, and I'd be her.
Yeah.
You're so wonderful, darling. We're so proud of you. We're so proud with all that you did. Forget about it, I plotzed. Leo and I loved it. Yeah, take this. This is dimes. These are some dimes for bus fare. Whatever you need. And put these on your head so I know that you got them there. Then you just stick them on your forehead.
Just like this.
That's it. No,
it doesn't work for me.
No, you gotta stick them right like that. Oh, see, you're not a sweaty boy.
No.
You gotta be a sweaty boy.
See?
There you go.
Ah.
See, now put more on. See?
Okay,
And then when you held, see, that's it. We put it all on our head.
Oops.
And then when it filled up, your head filled up, show was over.
You're a rich man.
Go cash in your head.
Now you try it.
Huh? I haven't done this in a long time. I don't know if I have to do it. See, I'm peeling. There you go. So my brothers and I would just take whatever we did, and we go like this. And then you just walk around like this. See, you do this the whole
See, it
day.
works better for you. That's why
Well, see?
you got a career out of this. Yeah.
See that? You do that.
Yeah.
Now, this is gonna be on, I'm gonna look like a total dope. But my cousin
Well, I'm
Edith...
right there with you.
Yeah, see, take a whole handful and smack them against your face.
Okay?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
On the count of three.
Don't do it. I mean, it's sort of breaking
On the count of three. One.
So you do this and you sabu. Oh, wise father, I have the tooth. I will kill the lion. Yeah, put one right there.
Right in the middle. Wait, can I cheat?
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go. Right, no. See?
That's
Or, you know, you're the guy at the airport. Please, buy this book. Buy the book. Or you're 15. God, I got a date.
You don't know how timely that is.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go. But you need more.
Yeah.
You're starting to upset me.
Yeah.
You need more. Do you know his forehead?
No, you don't.
See? Now, now if I was still teaching junior high,
Yeah.
I'd be going, okay, kids, this is a forehead during the Hoover administration. See? This is a forehead during the Bush administration. No money. Do something like that.
Great.
Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you, Bill.
Come see the movie. I think you'll like it.
I'm sure I'll do it.
I'm so tired.
It's a wrap. That was funny.
Mr. Saturday Night.
Better. Thank you. Hurt them. Get out of here.
Buddy Young Jr.
Thanks for staying up later. Billy Crystal is back. You were with us the first week of this show's existence.
That's right. We did 3 shows, actually.
Did 3.
Yes.
Only 2 of which aired.
Oh, really? So why am I here now? Show the other
So
one.
the third we're pulling down off the shelf and making it a companion piece to this. So you're going to get a double and only have to sit here for half an hour, I guess.
Oh, that's good. Great.
Mr. Saturday Night, this thing is terrific.
Thank you very much.
And I imagine that you can go on a show and someone would say it's terrific no matter what. This thing is terrific.
Well,
It really is.
Well, thank you. First of all, I'm glad you saw it. Because a lot of hosts don't see it and go, this thing is terrific.
Right.
And you did, because I saw you there. I love this movie. This was 10 years in the thinking of, and about 16, 17 months in the making of. And the most fun, the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but first thing I directed. And man, I look at it, you know, and in baseball terms, I felt like I got all of it, you know? It's like, it felt good.
And it felt, not so much because of the little bit I know about you personally, but I think even if someone were a blank slate about you, they could sense that you were telling a story that you knew inside and out. Not a story you'd researched and become familiar with.
Right.
Something that was essentially Billy Crystal was up there.
That's why I had to direct it, I think. You know, it's the story of the rise to the middle of this comedian. I play him from 31 to 73. And, you know, I've often described myself as the oldest young man in show business. And I directed it because I knew how the room should smell. I knew everything about this guy. I knew everything, where he had been. I envisioned myself there. I know people who have been there. I've been there myself. You don't have to be alone in a hotel room on the road and be 73 and be lonely. You can be 28. You can be 30, which is a lot of reason why I don't tour anymore. I just don't like that. And I just knew every inch of this guy, you know. I don't look at it as a story also of a comedian, as much as I look at it as a story of a husband, father, and brother who has trouble being all of those things, you know.
And this guy is more than just flawed. At the beginning, I'm saying to myself, all right, they're going to present the guy as flawed, not heroic.
Yeah.
But in many ways, he was despicable.
Yeah.
And that wasn't varnished.
No, I wanted to be unflinching in it. You know, I've always played like the nice guy, and I've had great parts. I always saw this as raging Jew, you know, if you will. I always saw this as if I was going to play it right, it had to get a little ugly at times and be unflinching in what I thought this guy was, and indeed what some of these guys are. And it's not unkind. I think it's honest.
Get out of my way! Get out of here!
Buddy, I forbid you to do that monologue.
You're forbidding me? Stanley, let's each do what we do best, huh? I'll tell the jokes. You'll get me a soda when I'm through. Okay? Now, which jacket's funnier?
Doesn't matter.
You said in a Playboy interview some years ago that a comedian is a guy who does something that has some human element to it. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's funny, but he's showing you humanity. A comic's a guy who just does jokes.
Yeah, shock.
And the implication, obviously, is you don't want to be a comic. And yet these guys, not just Buddy Young Jr., but the people all around him in this movie, are comics.
Yeah.
So you have an affection for them.
I love them. I think they are museum quality art to me. They are such a vanishing breed that I love being around them. I was roasted by the Friars Club recently, and you were there, and you see these guys, Pat Cooper, Norm Crosby, Alan King, John Biner, I know I'm going to leave some, but you see these guys work, and it's a timing that's timeless. It's an energy that is unique. They are Terminators, they are sharks, they have a rhythm that is always like the Benny Goodman Band. It swings, it has a definite cadence, and it is of another time. And it was a great time. And I'm always thankful to anybody, you know, and admire anybody who can get out in the circle and talk. And these guys made me want to be a comedian.
Is the conversation when those guys get together like it's depicted in the movie? Is it that constant rim shot sort of thing?
Well, with some people, you know, I have a very good relationship and a lovely relationship with Alan King, and we usually talk about family, but he'll call me with a joke of the week and hang up, you know. I'll go, hello, so these two old guys are in a hot tub, and you know, and then it's good, right? Yeah, bye. And then, you know, that's what we'll do, and I look forward to that call. You know, I love that call. Yeah, they'll hit each other. They'll go after each other a little bit. Here's a joke.
Okay.
Right. Last year, Alan was the Friars Man of the Year, and I'm standing with Alan. He tells me this joke. Guy's in bed with this girl, right? They're making love. We can say this. This is late, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Making love with this girl. Here's a lock. Oh my God, my husband! Jump out of the window, run! Guy jumps out of the window. It's pouring rain. He's running up the street. There's a bunch of joggers. He runs in them. He's totally naked. Guy says to him, "You always jog alone?" He goes, "Yeah." He says, "Why are you wearing a condom?" He says, "It's raining." Right? So, where's my drummer? And so then Alan leaves to get his picture taken. Buddy Hackett taps me on the shoulder. I didn't know he was standing right next to me. He goes, "He didn't tell it right." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He's a little bit off. Here's the way it should go. Guy's in bed with his girl. They're doing it, right? Here's a lock. He says, "Oh, God, my husband, jump outside." Right? He should run outside. It's not raining. He runs up, bunch of joggers are there. He gets right in the middle of them. Guy says, "You always jog nude?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "Why are you wearing a condom?" He goes, "It might rain."
He was right.
He was right. It's a little bit better. It's a little bit different, you know. So they do that, you know. They like to do that.
I noticed the affection that these guys have for you at this Friars Club thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a certain amount of showbiz schmaltz, but there was sincerity in the way these guys embraced you. I mean, they see you, even though you appeal to a younger audience as well, they see you as a definite link.
Well, I feel like that. You know, Mr. Saturday Night is about the show business that I growing up in, I should say.
Yeah.
it was the Sullivan Show was Sunday nights. There was always a comic. There was always Alan King. The airlines have got me nuts. The airlines have got me nuts. There was always him. There was Fat Jackie Leonard. Was the ground cold when you got up this morning? You know, there was all of those guys. There was, no matter who it was Sunday night. You know, and then there was Wayne and Schuster. But there was
from
always,
Canada.
No, it was always a funny, you know. And in those days, you know, Bob, there was no remote control. There was none of this happening. You had to get up and turn the channel. And if my house, you didn't, because you'd lose your seat, you know. So you watched the comics. My dad was in the music business. There was always the air of comedy around the house. He knew funny people. We had a record store, you know, that he managed, and he always brought albums home. So I was always hearing the funny guys, you know, and so on and so forth. So I really feel that, you know, those guys, and also it was the 50s. It was, you know, during the week. Sid Caesar one night, Phil Silvers the next night. I'm Bilko, one of the great characters and great actors. Phil Silvers was one of the funniest people. There was Jack Parr. You know, I always, you know, thank my folks for letting me stay up late to watch Jonathan Winters on Jack Parr. You know, and it was just like funny, live, the honeymooners. I mean, this was happening then. And of course Caesar, you know, and it was an amazing time. So I feel part of them a lot, you know.
I just happened to have Sid Caesar on the show this past March or April. We were out in Los Angeles. And just that weekend, there had been an interview with you in the Los Angeles Times. And I think he came in to be interviewed the next day. And you had made mention of him, and you had said, watching him as a little kid was when you decided, I want to do that. I want to be funny.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to say, thank you very much. This guy was genuinely touched by this. I mean, you weren't in the room. He was talking to me about it.
Really?
He was moved by this.
Sid Caesar was the chaplain of television. It's the first image, you know, you always have people say to you, you know, when did you start being funny? Well, what was it? What do you do? Were you born nuts? What do you do? You know, were you just like, were you crazy? I remember being a little kid and watching Show of Shows, and it was a parody of The King and I. And bad set and all of that, and Sid Caesar came out as Yul Brynner with the little capri pants, you know, and all of that, and that thing with a bald wig, and he hit this pose like that. Gong went off, and the guy shook. You know, it was one of those sketches. And he took a pose, and the audience was laughing, and he did this slow burn that he was in pain. And as only Sid, it starts, you know, it works up his whole body, and he grabbed his foot and screamed, "Who's smoking in the palace?" And it was so funny to me. It was much funnier then than now. It was hilarious. And in Mr. Saturday Night, there's a little section that I think is the best joke of it, and an honest moment of a comedian in the movie. Everything's going great for Buddy at this point. He's got a career happening. He's playing Vegas. He's opening for Sinatra. He's opening for Jimmy Durante. You see all of these great marquees. And he just had a baby. He has a great wife. Everything's on the up and up. As a shot starts on a piece of film from Show of Shows. It was their most famous sketch, and a very personal sketch to me. It was a parody of This Is Your Life. And Sid didn't want to have his life being told. It was, Lowell Thomas had been on This Is Your Life and hated it, didn't want to be part of it. Very famous This Is Your Life, where he gave Ralph Edwards hell the whole night. You know?
And they brought in Caesar's Uncle Goopy.
Uncle Goopy, and that was Howard Morris, and he holds him and drags him on his leg and carries him around, and indeed, that's how I ended up going to bed every night with my dad. I'd grab on his leg. No, we played Uncle Goop. So I put that in the movie. And the shot is, they're hilarious, Sid Caesar's hilarious, and then it pans Buddy's brother, hysterical, Buddy's wife, hysterical, and then Buddy's sitting there like this. And he's not laughing. And he's jealous, and he's envious, and he feels horrible because he knows he's not Sid Caesar. And to me, it's my favorite moment in the movie right now.
Last night I come home, I found my wife smooching and kissing with my best friend. Yeah, so I said, Lenny, I have to, but you?
Is this true? No, it's just a joke, honey.
Why do people love him anyway? Why does this great wife really love him? Not just stick with him, but she feels tremendous tenderness toward him. Why does the brother, in spite of everything, come back and embrace him?
Because he's funny. Because they see in him what he doesn't see in him also. You know, he is, as we describe in the movie, a big wrinkled child. But he is really funny. He's a truly funny man. And oftentimes, funnier off stage than on, which is a phenomenon that I don't quite understand yet, but I think I'm learning. To write what you think is an act is one thing, and it may not be good, but to be naturally funny in a room is like hilarious. I know guys whose actors, okay, but sitting in a room, Bob, forget about how funny it is. I mean, it's unbelievable to be with a really, truly funny man.
Who's the funniest guy just sitting around?
Well, Robin's pretty great. I mean, at any point.
But also funny on stage.
Yeah. He's murderously funny. I mean, he hurts me. You know, I feel like, you know, I'm no mas with him. And we can play with each other very well. Albert Brooks is deeply funny. Mel Brooks, no relation. Just to sit with Mel, and which I've had the opportunity to do, and I wish more often, is a true, it's you know, I don't know how else to describe it. It's a treat. It's a rarity. It's beyond belief how funny they can be. I've had some moments with people like that I just, you know, you go, wow, that was really a great moment. Boy, Buddy Hackett, hysterical. Alan King, one-on-one, just having dinner with, truly amazingly funny. There's a thing about funny people that's funny. Let me tell you this quick story. I was in Russia preparing to do this HBO special, and we're on a scouting trip to see if I could do the special in April, 2 years ago. And we're in this dining room awaiting the arrival of the #1 Russian comedian about my age. I didn't know what he looked like or anything. We're sitting at the table with an interpreter and a small little crew from HBO that we were going to film this introduction as part of the special. So it's this beautiful dining room, Red Square is there, and I'm looking at the door, and it's some man walks in. No, that's not him. So no. Then a guy opens the door, and he came in like this. I said, that's him. And I go, how do you know? I said, he's funny. Look at him. He's upset. Yeah. Something is upsetting him. He's funny, and I could see him with the maitre d'. And he was doing stuff. He was doing, but he was just a natural, you know, he came in with a thing. You can tell the funny people when they come in. So we sit down and we start with the interpreter talking about our experiences. Now, this is 12,000 miles apart, but comedy is comedy. And comedians are strange breeds. So I said to him, do you, because I don't sit down, if I'm on at 8, I don't sit down from about 5 o'clock on until, that's it, the rest of the night. I mean, I'm a walker. I walk around, I'll run, I'll jog, I do a lot of exercises also before I go on. I said, do you sit down before a show? I said, how come? It's through an interpreter. And he says something in Russian, and the interpreter says, he said he doesn't want to break the crease. And I know exactly what he meant. I mean, that's, you don't put on your tuxedo pants until, if you're performing in tux, until the second before you go out, because you don't break your crease. And here's this Russian comic knowing this. Right. You know, I'm sure he didn't talk with Burl. You know, I'm sure he and Alan haven't had lunch, you know, they did, don't break crease. And I said, do you like when your family's in the audience? And he got hysterical. And the answer came back was, he says, no, I'm Jewish too. And it was so wild that here was this guy who grew up in the Soviet Union, but did the business of being a funny person, and it was all the backstage stuff was all the same. It was amazing.
Are the vast majority of comedians angry?
You know, I've heard that. What the hell do you mean by that?
Jay, just asking.
Hey, all right.
Just asking.
All right, back off. I think it comes from someplace. I know some that are less angry. I think that, you know, you see a lot of angry acts, you know, on stage now. A lot of guys venting, and it's not just the Republicans today. There's a lot of anger in what they're saying. I think it comes from a deep place. I think it's basically, you could say anger, fear.
You're pretty sure that the response from the old-timers is going to be favorable here. But are you a little concerned that some may think, sure, there's affection, but he's saying there's something pathetic about us?
Well, it's not them. You have to remember, you know, it is this man that I created. You know, it's not them. Buddy's not pathetic at all. Buddy is frightened. Buddy is, you know, I feel bad for Buddy. He's Willy Loman with laughs. That's what I set out to make. Yeah. You know, he's a salesman, you know, You sell yourself from city to city, you know. All of them that I spoke to at the premiere here, you know, Henny and Alan, you know, they all go, that's me up there, that's my life.
Yeah.
You know, but it's our life. You don't have to be 65, like I said before, to know the loneliness of the road, or to, you know, have other problems that have nothing to do with comedy, you know. So I think that they've loved it. You know, Buddy said to me last night, Buddy Hackett said to me last night, everybody knows us now, thank you. You know, that's a pretty great thing. The greatest thing, though, was, it's nothing to do with comedy. And, well, in a way it does, was Muhammad Ali was there last night. I know this may get off the, but it's the reaction of this movie, which is a human movie. It's not about, you know, as much about comedy and comedians as it is about this man's inability to be intimate with people, you know? And Ali was there, and there's some Yiddish in the movie, there's some rough language in the movie, and so on and so forth for him, you know? And he sat there, and I talked to him afterwards, and he called me over, and he calls me little brother. He said, little brother, you made me cry 5 times. 5 times. The movie hit me harder than Ernie Shavers. You bad. Ooh, you bad. He said, Papa, crying 5 times. So I said, when, champ? He said, when he hugs his daughter, he hit all the right dramatic moments, you know, in the movie, and that's Ali, you know, so it was so moving. Plus, it was in a room that I did my first television show in, ever, for Dick Schaap, our friend Dick. It was a local special for Sport Magazine in 1974, and Ali had knocked out George Foreman and Zaire, there! And and I had not done any television or anything. I ended up being on this show by a fluke. They had called my manager for Robert Klein, and Bob wasn't available, so they said, we got this new guy, he does a 5-minute Ali thing. That's all I had. And I'm sitting between Gino Marchetti of the Baltimore Colts and some other gigantic man, Archie Griffin, who won the Heisman Trophy. Right. And Marchetti had snorted his roast beef. I mean, it was huge. And they introduced me as one of Ali's closest and dearest friends. And Ali's looking around, and I get up. You know, he said to himself, do I know Joel Grey? And I went on, and then went right into this Cosell thing and this Ali piece, and no one had done Ali, especially a white man.
Here he is now, the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali. Muhammad, who are you going to defend your title against?
Everybody's talking about Joe Frazier.
Muhammad, let me ask you. You first came out against Foreman. You held on to the ropes. But at least this recall is a deal that you're not so fast anymore.
How about a lot of nonsense? I'm still so fast, and I'm so pretty.
And from then on, Ali and I were friends. And the reception for the movie last night was in that same room. And here Ali was coming to see me now. And it was really, really very emotional for me.
Mr. Saturday night is Mr. Wednesday and Thursday night, as he's back tomorrow, and we hope we'll see you then. Till then, see you later. It's a brilliant ad lib, wasn't it? You see what I did there?
I saw what you did. I saw what you did.
Yeah.
You see, you blended. You took a thing and you made it a thing. Unbelievable. I'm so bored.
Thanks for staying up later. Billy Crystal is back. We were talking about his new movie, Mr. Saturday Night, last night, and not enough time to cover it all, so we continue with the same conversation. What's the funniest moment in the film?
There's a scene in a restaurant with...
That's the one.
Yeah, with Ron Silver and Helen Hunt, who are both sensational. And it was improvised. It's a scene where Buddy's getting a chance to maybe become a star of a movie, and his whole career would turn around. And he's with this young director, Ron Silver plays, who had seen him in the Catskills in 1956. And he tells Buddy this story, and it's not that funny, and Buddy then says, is this funny to you? And it wasn't in the script. And I went for these rolls that were in the bread basket on the table, and I just went, and it was the first take, and that's what's in the movie. And it's a minute of hilarity in a movie where I just went wild.
Look, I'm Carl Malden. Never carry cash, whatever. How about this? The girlie from Star Wars with the Bialys on the head. Luke, I need you, Luke. Give me the Force. Look, I'm a Hasidic baker. I'll have it Thursday for you. I'll have it Thursday for you.
I think that's the funniest I've ever been in a movie, and you couldn't hear any of the lines for it. It's like a minute long of just sustained craziness, but it was all improvised.
Couple interesting things. If I've got this right, Kevin Costner, who in Dances with Wolves did the whole thing, across the board, encouraged you to do it when I guess you were uneasy as to whether or not someone could take on that big a load and pull it off.
Yeah, the day I came up with a story for City Slickers, I wrote the original story for the concept for the film. Kevin and I ended up at a hockey game together, and we're sitting up in Bruce McNall's booth in the Forum in L.A.
Right.
And we're sitting and talking, and we've known each other a little bit on and off, but we're talking. He's a terrific baseball player and fan, and we're talking baseball. And I said, "Gee, I got a really strong idea today. I think it could be a great movie." He said, "What?" I said, 3 friends, cattle drive, so on and so forth. I said, "Me, you, and DeVito. Me, you, and Robin. What did we be? You know, someone we're talking about that." And he goes, "God, this sounds great, but I'm going off to do this movie." The movie was Dances with Wolves. He said, I got a feeling about it. I just have to do it. I just have to do it. I know it's gonna. He said, I've been tired. I'll be tired before, and on and on and on like that. I see the movie. I'm very inspired by it. So it was awesome to do. If you've ever acted alone in a movie, that's hard enough. To direct is ridiculously hard. To do both in that size movie was amazing to me. I thought it was a stunning achievement. And I called him. We're talking. He said, "What are you thinking about doing next?" And I mentioned this movie, and he said, "Do it." I said, "I don't think I'm going to be able to do it physically." He said, "You've been tired. You'll be tired before it. You have to do it. You have to do it." And he would call me periodically. "Are you doing it?" I said, "I don't think I can. I'm too free." "You can do it. Listen how you talk about this guy." And he was a big influence and inspiration. When you really believe in something, as much as he believed in dances, and as much as people said, "You can't have a movie that long. You can't have a movie where they speak and with subtitles, you know, for half the movie." He said, "No, it'll work." And he kept on me. The same as Barry Levinson, and who I talked about doing it, and Rob. I mean, you know, Rob Reiner, who's so close to me, said, "You must do this."
And this is the first one you directed.
Yeah.
But a little bit like, and maybe this is a reckless parallel, but why not?
A reckless parallel?
All right. That's odd. Who cares? Levinson's first movie was Diner, right? First movie he directed.
Yeah.
And in a sense, that was a good choice for his first subject matter to direct because it was his life.
Yes.
He knew it so well.
Yes.
So you're grounded in it. It's a little bit less risky.
Yeah.
That was true in this case, too. I mean, this is your story. This is a story that you have to tell.
Yeah, I have to, you know, I said before, you know, you have to know how the rooms smell in order to direct something. I knew how every room smelled, and indeed I made them smell. You know,
Go ahead.
There's a scene where his name is Abe Yankelman, and his brother Stan are in Brooklyn. It's 1936. And touring the set the night before we were going to shoot it, and I said to Albert Brenner, the set designer, sensational talent, I said, "It's perfect." Because we had talked about it for months. You know, developing a movie takes months. And I told him what my grandmother's house looked like, my house looked like, his mother's house, and it came out to be, down to the wallpaper, a perfect meld of all of them, right? I said, "Albert, it's perfect. One thing's wrong." He goes, "What?" "This doesn't smell right." I said, "You walk into my grandmother's house in Brooklyn, it smells. In the apartment building, people have lived there. It's in the walls. There's pot roast and brisket that have stories to tell, you know?" So he goes, "God, you're right." So we fried up onions. He took horseradish and rubbed it into the wallpaper, garlic. We left everything out overnight. I get to the set at 5:30 the next morning. It smells so perfect. The actors and actresses come in, mostly older people for that day, and they start crying. Not from the onions, but because it was so real.
Yeah.
They went, "It's my mother's house. It's my living." And it made the acting work, and then I started doing it in other sets. You know? The dressing rooms, I said I wanted to smell damp. Anytime Buddy was in a dressing room, you know, when he was young in the Catskills, because it's damp. The rooms up there are always damp. So we did, and it was like very real, you know? It was really interesting.
Did you perform that way for relatives and friends?
Oh, yeah,
in the
that's my
parlor?
brothers and I. I get very emotional about that. You know, we had this little house in Long Beach, Long Island. And
Let me jump in. In the movie, Buddy Young Jr. and his brother are constantly performing, and that's what gives them the notion they might be able to take it on stage, and they're entertaining their friends and their relatives in the house.
Right. Back to the action.
Correct.
And
a little bit of exposition there to kind of lay it out for you.
who are you talking to?
I'm talking to the American public.
Oh. Hi. And, but we had this little house in Long Beach, and when the relatives came over, which were usually 30, 35 strong, and hungry, and they'd get off the Long Island Railroad, and they'd get out of their cars and say the same thing. Such traffic! And they'd... oh, fish, traffic. She didn't listen to the directions. We went off to Throgsneck. We should have gone over to Cross Bronx. Then we hit Bruckner Boulevard, and I'm looking at Yankee Stadium for the third time. You should have listened. If you didn't pull over, you should have stopped. You missed that big shed with the exact change we didn't have. And then we had to stand there for an hour. You, what's the matter with your brother? He's dead. That's what I mean. And they'd bring coats, Persian lamb coats, and that my aunts with those fur wraps, which was attractive, a real fox, actual alive fox, with the clasp that bites its tail. And this is a fashion tip, you know.
How bad did that frighten you when you were 5 or 6? First time I saw one of those, I almost turned and ran.
Yeah, and Bertie, she's got a ferret on her neck. You know? And, you know, because there are no Jewish hunters, you know. We know what to do with the pelts, but we don't kill. And they take all that stuff off and throw it in my room. You know, there were 3 of us in my room. You know, my 3 brothers in this tiny little room. And that became the wardrobe room. So then we put them on, put the coats on, and then we were the youngest old people. It's probably where Buddy started. I've been old since I was 4 years old, you know. And we'd go out and imitate them and do all those accents and stuff, stand on a coffee table like the little guys did and work. And then my cousin Edith, who was at the screening last night, she's about 80 years old now, would give us dimes. And we put the dimes on our forehead. You know, we stick them on there because you're sweating and stick. And when your head was filled up with change, the show was over.
Hell of a show.
Yeah, always great. How'd you do? Let's see. Hey, $1.80. Hope the good humor man comes by. You know, it was, so that house, you know, coupled with some of my dad, my uncle's a great record producer. Produced Rock Around the Clock, you know, Bill Haley and the Comets, all the Billie Holiday stuff. He created Commodore Records, which was the greatest jazz label of its time. He's a great guy. He was there today, you know, last night at the premiere, and the house was filled with these great jazz musicians, you know, on top of that. So you had these great ethnic Jewish relatives, some Russian, and with Tyree Glenn from Louis Armstrong's band, and Willie the Lion Smith, who was a great stride piano player who spoke fluent Yiddish because his mother had been a maid for wealthy Jewish people, and so she had to speak Yiddish to communicate with them. So a really hip old black guy saying, "Hey, face, fish monster," was a pretty hip thing. What's with the bitter herbs? Do you eat them or do you smoke them? You know, and the house smelled of brisket and bourbon. You know.
What about in his very first performance when the really young Buddy Young Jr. gets up on stage in front of a hostile audience? In his first bit, he's got King Kong speaking Yiddish from the pavement.
From the pavement,
right?
Yes. Says Gavena Shiksa. Was it the machines that got him? No, says Gavena Shiksa. Because he knew the living room, it was funny. You know, and that's what he bombs, you know. But then the interesting thing about that scene is he steals his brother's lines. See, Buddy didn't start out by being an insult comic. His brother Stan starts in the living room going after one of his fat uncles. You know, you look like New Jersey in pants, you know, he says to his uncle. Buddy on stage gets thrown by this guy who says, "Get off the stage, you kid," you know. And he looks at him and goes, "Would you mind standing up?" So this gorilla stands up, this big guy, and he steals his brother's line and gets a big laugh, and then a comedian is born.
I guess there's some truth in what Buddy snaps back at Stan when Stan tries to explain to him how really messed up he is as a person and how he's hurt people through his insensitivity and his ego and everything else. But Buddy's comeback, in part, is, look, at least I had the chutzpah to go and do it. You were funny, Stan. You said funny things. You thought of funny things. You were funny in the living room. But you couldn't get up there and be funny.
And he tells him you didn't know what it was like. And I felt bad that you never knew what it was like up there. It's one of the best speeches ever written about stand-up, that speech. It's brutal. And I feel, that's where I feel bad for Buddy. Not pathetic, I feel bad that this guy loves it so much. And it's important to him for so much of his life. It gives him who he is.
Yeah.
He thinks. And he doesn't have the place to do it anymore. And then Stan, after hearing this prolific speech about stand-up and what it does to you, just levels him with a family statement, which is, you're right, yeah, you nailed me, but you could have been nicer.
Yeah.
And it's devastating. It's just a few words. There's a sixth word, you could have been something like that, and it changes the guy's whole life, you know.
And I know how it looked to everybody. Oh, poor Stan, what a nice guy. Has to put up with crazy Buddy to Why does he stay with him? But we know why, don't we, Stan? Huh? Because you had to be around it, near it. So I let you, because you're my brother, and you were brilliant, and it broke my heart that you never knew what it felt like up there. When it's good, when it's cooking, you got them, they're yours. You can take them anywhere you want. You're powerful. You prowl the stage like a panther. It feels so good, the laughs go right into your blood. You can be a schmuck in the afternoon, but you're the king of the night. And every woman wants to f you, and every man wants to know you. You never knew that, Stan. And I felt bad for you. And I wanted you to at least be close to it. I didn't take your life, Stan. I gave you one.
Yeah, but you could have been nicer.
One of the things I liked a lot about the movie was the way it communicated that love of the craft of it and the life of it.
Yeah.
You love the applause, you love your name on the marquee and everything else, but just the doing of it. When you're around anybody in any profession who really loves not just the outcome, but the process, there's something engaging and even exhilarating about that. When you hear a couple of ball players in the dugout, not talking about a home run trot after hitting one out in the World Series, but really into a conversation, the count is 2-1. And you know as well as I do what Saberhagen's going to do to you on 2-1. And I'm thinking about that slider and the eyes, and they're locked in, and it's all about process. Doesn't matter if you hit a ground ball to short or hit it out. It's all about the process, and you realize this is what defines these people. This is who they are.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fascinating thing because that's what they talk about. That's what comics will talk about. You know, it's the same thing, the story I told you before, Hackett. He's a little off, and he changes the thing. You know, it's very much like that. And, you know, sports, stand-up, always been very closely tied to me. It's Buddy talks in terms, there's a lot of baseball terminology in the movie when Elaine, who he loves so much, because she's funny, and the most, he laughs at her, which is rare, and that's why he loves her. Yeah, his life. Usually when you're with a funny guy, right? I mean, today was, you know, you watch a funny guy and everyone's laughing, you know. Usually a funny person will watch somebody who's killing, and he'll do this. Funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. They watch the process. They watch the organ. Funny. That's a standing ovation from comic to comic. Funny. You know, it means a lot to me when Hackett said to me, "You're funny on the awards." I know that I did well with him. That means a lot to me.
There's a scene in the movie that reminded me of our conversation when you were first on the show. You were talking about...
Is this another reckless parallel? Or?
Yeah, it's a reckless parallel. It's a reckless use of language, I'll tell you that. You were talking about how you and Janice used to spend some of the rough days on the road calling out for Chinese food or whatever, and by candlelight over the toilet seat.
Yeah.
You'd be reviewing that night's performance, maybe listening to a cassette tape of it. She'd give you the critique.
Yeah.
And that's in the movie.
Yeah, I had to ask her permission because it's our time, you know, and I look at it, I get choked up when I see it, and it was an amazing loan from her, from our little Hall of Fame collection, to let us use it in the movie. The early days of working are romantic to me in many ways. Jenny was a little baby, was that baby in the middle of the bed. We put pillows around so in case she rolled off, she wasn't going anywhere. We traveled in my Volkswagen. We poured a crib in the back. I was making, I don't know, $150, $250 a night and loving every second of it. I started a little later. I was about 26 years old, 27 years old. I'd left this group that I loved, and I loved these guys, but it was just, it wasn't working. I gave it a good shot, almost 5 years, and it was time to become me. Yeah. And through her patience and her strength, you know, I'm not easy to live with, and she's an amazing person. Those days when I'd come in, and the only place she could be, we had one room, you know, one little room on the road, you know, usually a small little hotel, and the bathroom was the safe room, and that became, you know, our dining room. And when I look at that scene, I'm almost sorry it's in, but I'm glad it is, because people will understand the romance and how important it is to be a family together, you know. I love that moment, you know. But it's Janice's moment, and it's my moment, and I thank her for, you know, letting me use it in the picture.
I'm sure that you deserved it, but Buddy Young Jr. In the film has something that probably, objectively, he doesn't deserve, but it's one of the greatest things anyone can have. His wife doesn't just love him, she understands him.
Yeah, she does.
She knows what his motivations are.
Yeah, and she's selfless about it, and she says a line that I wrote. Lowell Gans and Barbara Lou Mandel did a sensational job on the script, but there are certain moments that I just know so well. And she says, he needed more than me. I always knew that. He needed that little extra hug that he could only get from strangers. And I think it's a fantastic line.
Yep.
And it's just right to the bone about a lot of performers and a lot of people.
I knew a long time ago that he needed more than me. He needs the show. No matter how much I love him, and I do, he needs that extra little hug that he can only get from strangers.
Last thing, I mean, this character, Buddy Young Jr., has been around for a decade at least.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, just about a decade, yeah.
Suppose you had had the stature and the wherewithal to pull this film together in 1982 or 83. I would think maybe it wouldn't have been as good. I mean, your understanding of this guy probably has ripened.
Oh,
over
yeah.
time.
I'm better now. As a person, as a performer, you know, I feel like I'm just starting to get it and understand it. Sometimes I look at tapes of things that I thought were good, like on The Tonight Show, and I see a frightened kid walk out on my first Tonight Show. I had Jason Marsden, who plays me at the talent show when he's 15.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, when he comes to the mic, he doesn't get the first word out good. Did he take you now? I was like that on a lot of shows. I don't have a nervous bone in my body now, because I feel so good every time I go. I can't wait to play. I feel like Ernie Banks now. You know, let's play 2 today. You know, let's host 2 today. And I feel that way about, you know, about my creative work now. I'm seeing the ball real good. I feel good. The ball looks about this big right now. You know, and that back in '82 or so on, I wasn't ready.
Yeah, Buddy Young Jr. then was a great comedic character, but up on the screen, what I saw last night, he was a human being.
Well, that's the difference, you know. There's a rubber human being up there. I think it's I don't know. I was very emotional. I saw it at the premiere, and because I'm giving birth to something that took a long time to gestate, you know, and saying goodbye to it now is a little hard. You know, I feel like the father of the bride walking her down the aisle with this thing, and I have to now give her away to somebody else. And it was so complete for me, and such a creative, oh man, holiday. Every day I solved another problem. I didn't think I knew what I was doing. I did. Every day I got stronger. Every day I felt more creative. Every day the camera moved in a different way, and the shots were better, and worked with the actors better. I couldn't wait to get to the set every day. And now, the saddest part of Mr. Saturday Night was when we stopped shooting, because I had such a great time. And now it's, you know, people are going to see it, and they already are seeing it. And it's, you know, it's tough to say goodbye to it.
Billy, great to see you again.
Thank you, Bob.
Good luck with the film. I don't think you're going to need much luck.
Don't get me started on this.
This one, as Buddy Young Jr. might say, better than a double off the scoreboard. Might be out of the park completely.
Oh, you never know. But it could be a ground rule. Holy cow, it could be a ground rule double. Holy cow.
See you later.
Good night, Phil.